Well, g'day everybody. It's Alan Endres here, founder of ZuCoins and Zookaz. This is the show that we go live where I share my time with your time so that we have our time, which is it's ZuTime. Now, everybody, today's the 20th of September 2021. We had a great week last week, just catching up a bit, just catching my breath a bit for everybody. So looking forward to having a chat today, which today is episode 5, and today's episode is about virtual real estate. Now, most of this week will be dedicated to working through how we increase the acceptances of the systems in terms of Zookaz relating to volumes of customers and volumes of merchants. Because as I said in episode 4, we talk about the long-term value of ZuCoins, and we wanted to get people's heads around how you can actually mathematically enhance that. And it comes basically through demand and through that little formula that we sent out. And hopefully you worked your way through that formula, which is simply MV equals PT. It's all about the money supply. It's all about the way in which the velocity of money moves in an ecosystem. It allows us to determine a price and obviously the transactions that relate to that. Now, that goes hand in glove, as you know, with the short-term value, which we went out of our way with Zangle.io to follow through with a credibility rating, which we're pleased to say is a B+, which puts ZuCoins into an investment grade. But our long-term objective is to move to an A++, in fact, an A+++, because A++ is only Bitcoin. And we want to make sure we're above that. So looking at the maths, and it's all about now relating that to turnover and transactions and volumes and the speed of the volumes using the coin globally. And I wanted to share that with you today, the first portal being virtual real estate and how that would operate. Because as you know, we don't want to see ourselves sitting with a lazy $60 or $100 a coin. We see ourselves as competing where the pricings are with Bitcoin, and that'll be achieved through these volumes. And we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars per coin. So that's not an unrealistic target, and it's not unrealistic that in this day and age, you can have tens and tens of millions of people if you solve that trilemma of security, scalability, and certainly speed of the transactions, which is what's happening. So without further ado, let's talk about how one single product can lean itself into that space of transaction volumes. Now, virtual programs have been around for a long time. Some people may be involved with some of the programs like Second Life, where you have avatars and you have this separate world that people get involved with. And in fact, it's like a parallel universe. You know, what you do in your real life day to day is replicated in this virtual world, buying, selling, transacting, creating things, and those sort of gamification things have been around for many, many years. What hasn't happened is there's not a bridge between the effect of what happens in the real world commercially and how to connect that to a program that brings that virtual reality into play. Now, Zookaz, which is a product that we've created, is designed to bring augmented reality and geomapping into play, which is like Pokemon Go on steroids, in fact. And it's been a program that we've taken our time with. We've had a couple of starts to test the marketplace in Albury, Wodonga and Geelong, and that was pre-COVID. And then there was a rethink as well in terms of the rollout and the software and how that would work to embrace the restrictions of people movement, which we've seen with lockdowns, and particularly in Australia, where we have a fairly heavy hand in terms of the way those lockdowns have been working, for good, bad, or otherwise. But what we're able to do over the last 12 months is tease that out as to how we can really encapsulate the virtual world ready for release post the wallet issue, of course, and the listing of the coins, which will play a crucial role in that ecosystem. So for those that don't know, Zookaz is where we've changed and turned upside down the advertising business models. What happens is, if you're a merchant in the current world environment, doesn't matter what platform you use, Instagram, if you don't, look at programs like Twitter and Facebook and all those Pinterest and those programs, their business model is where merchants pay upfront big dollars in the hope that the ads that you see and you filter through grab your attention. And then a second stage is where it says, well, we've got your attention. Let's hope you buy some goods and services. The reality of that is that it's a 0.08% success rate from the time you click through to the time you buy those goods and services from the merchant. Now, this is a $500 billion global industry, and it embraces companies like Google. It's been their model for a long, long time. So the poor old merchant has this cost on his P&L, and he throws that money at these companies, and then he sits back and hopes that sales will occur, either through on location, through the stores, or through online businesses. And the online businesses have taken off given the COVID environment. So the problem with that is the overall cost in this environment to the merchant. Now, what Zookaz has done is said, look, we will provide at no cost, no installation, no monthly fees, no charges, the ability for the merchant to create augmented reality. Now, again, for those that are not sure, everything you see me hearing today, whether it's my glasses or with my hat or any of the items behind me, can be created in a three-dimensional form and encapsulated with all of the advertising the merchant wants you to see. So this hat, for example, could be floating around on our platform for you, either in real life to go hunting and collecting, or in a virtual world to have a congregation of virtual avatars, a bit like influencers in Twitter, if you like, where you bring your followers to your location in a virtual sense, or in a real sense for that matter, to go hunting and collecting these vouchers from the merchants. Now, the vouchers are real dollars. That is, it might be $50 at one of the location stores, whether it's a hairdresser, whether it's a plumber or an accountant or a lawyer's business or a shopping complex. And those vouchers, when you hunt and collect, you collect them. And you put them in a vault. And as a result of that, you now are the owner of that for the lifetime of that voucher that the merchant has set. Now, again, there's no cost to the merchant at this point. Now, once I've collected the voucher, I've got two options. I can either redeem that voucher back to the merchant, which creates a sale. And if there's a successful sale, Zookaz picks up 10% commission. So it's a success-driven model, only on success. At the same time, if I don't wish to hang on to that voucher, I may go into the platform and trade that voucher. So you can see that it's worth $100, and I might find somebody that's more attuned to wanting to redeem at a beauty spa or hairdresser, and I might pay $5 or $10, or they may pay $5 or $10 and pick up that $100 value. So that's the Zookaz ecosystem of lots and lots of merchants, lots and lots of activity, and we've proven this successful in our trials that I've just alluded to. The adoption rate was massive, the dropping rate was huge, and we know that this system is the way of the future for advertising, that connection. Now, one thing that happens in Zookaz is that the geo mapping allows the merchants to identify exactly where those vouchers have been dropped. Now, that could be anywhere, literally 24/7 on the planet. It could be out in an island. It could be anywhere that your mind can imagine. So, for example, a merchant may be watching this show right now and decide that we've got thousands of people that are viewing and can see me here and now, and they would be able to press a button and literally drop behind me a spinning voucher. It might be a teacup. It might be a coffee mug. And as that mug's spinning, you or I could click to collect that voucher, and it might be just for a $5 at the local coffee shop. So they see a target market through the geo mapping. They're able to almost heat sense and monitor volumes of collections of people, either in the real world or, I'm going to come to it, in the virtual world of location. Now, I want you to get your heads on how virtual real estate works, because it works in conjunction with the technology of the split chain, and particularly the way we have developed the ZuTime as an identifier, what I call an identifier. Now, this room, for example, because I know that I've got a following and I've got some people watching, as we're seeing today, I may decide that I want to own the dimensions of this room. So whatever the dimensions of this room are, we can actually put those coordinates into a unique identifier. So it becomes a unique digital asset, which is a term that I'm going to use a lot more of, UDAs. So just think about that. People talk about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, bloody confusing. We know what it means. You can look it up. But the reality is your crypto, a ZuCoin, is a digital asset. And we can take that a step further and create a unique digital asset, which happens to be this particular real estate. Now, because I'm the owner of this virtual real estate, as traction happens in this very room, then what I'm allowed to do is there'll be royalties paid to me as the owner of this virtual real estate based on, obviously, the amount of token or the amount of vouchers that are collected, the amount of vouchers that are redeemed, and the amount of vouchers that are traded. So I become a business within myself without even leaving the room. Now, let's explore that a bit. You've got two types of vouchers that can be collected in the Zookaz world. Now, the first is those that are on location hunting and collecting. So as an example, I may be the virtual owner of Central Park, New York. Now, the coordinates are there. It's locked in. I'm the only owner in the world that owns Central Park, New York. And as real traffic, there's 40 odd million people a year that pre-COVID were traveling through Central Park. Obviously, those numbers are a lot less because of COVID, but certainly they're big numbers. The merchants may find that that's a hotspot. And globally, many merchants will zoom in and drop vouchers in Central Park. Now, if you're an online business, it's a no-brainer. You just want people to be able to collect your vouchers and see what the success rate is there, and they could redeem online, whether they're $20 for a pair of shoes or $100 for whatever goods services you're paying for. So there is a draw card for merchants to hone into hot zones in relation to the vouchers. Now, if, for example, 20 million people per annum annually were collecting vouchers and redeeming and trading and everything else under the business rules, and there's a 50-cent royalty paid for every one of those boxes that are ticked, well, then I may be earning, as a result of that, $10 million a year in income as a result of me being the owner of that virtual real estate. Now, it's very easy because you're tracking. You've got a history of the vouchers. You've got a history of the revenues that are made on that virtual real estate, and you don't need to go to an accountant to sit down and give you the gospel on whether or not you are earning that revenue. It's all transactionally recorded, and I may decide to sell my virtual real estate. Now, here's the kicker: if I bought that real estate for $1 and I'm getting earnings of $10 million a year, well, you tell what the world is worth if that's recurring income as a result of that property. Now, I may subdivide some of that virtual real estate in Central Park, or I may sell the entire virtual real estate of Central Park, which could be worth anything on a cap value, a multiple of 10, may very well be worth 70, 80, $100 million. Now, if I sell that virtual real estate again through the trading platform of Zookaz, we will take 25% commission. The basic is that you've picked it up for next to nothing. It's only on the profit that you make as a result of that virtual real estate, and the turnover can happen all the time. And that may be paid in coins. It may be received in coins as well, being ZuCoins, which creates this global mass of transaction, which is crucial, as I said earlier, and the big difference in our little formula, MV equals PT. So if that formula is the key, then that formula is the key for the quantity theory of money, and hence puts us in the thousands of dollars of categories of what a ZuCoin is worth. Now, you may say, well, what about the virtual market in relation to virtual real estate? Well, again, the principle's exactly the same. Now, we all see how people make money as influencers through the social media channels, which is a bit of a con, really. I mean, people get lured into that stuff. It's just a bit of a playground as well for the trolls. We've covered off those wallies before. But what you've got to look at is behind the scenes, the effectiveness of the way in which those platforms are designed to increase the volume of data and the volume of data they obtain in relation to making money from you, the participants. Now, we don't want to do that, but we do want you to make money and share in an ecosystem that's a reward for both merchant and consumer. So if I create the virtual Alan Endres avatar, as an example, and I am encouraged that people want to follow and see what I've got to say. And again, coming back to this room. Now, you might say, how can I make money out of a 4x4 meter room? Well, the reality is it's easy, because on the Zookaz mapping, I may say that there's a particular day where I'm introducing my followers to my connections through a number of merchants. Now, that merchants might be electrical goods and services for the day. So I'm going to announce such a thing that my virtual avatar would invite your virtual avatars to all come into this very room and on location as part of that geo mapping. So there could be, literally, if you can just imagine for a minute, 1 million virtual avatars in this room simultaneously at the same time. Now, we don't need to display 1 million avatars on the mapping, but we can have counters that say there are legitimately 1 million avatars, a bit like followers in Twitter. You know, it comes up and says there's 630,000 odd followers. You don't necessarily see them all, but they're all there. And I may put out a promotion to my merchants that at 10 o'clock on a particular day, we're expecting 1 million avatars to have an appearance. Now, those 1 million avatars are a magnet to the merchants with a concentration of people to promote their ARs and marketing vouchers. Now, if they want to throw out and say that we've got $100 vouchers that are going like hotcakes because there's 1 million people, they can actually see on the heat sensing maps that we put up that this is a hot zone. This little room turns out to be a hot zone of 1 million people. Now, as a result, just think about it. How valuable on the first instance is my virtual real estate in this room, if that's where I conduct my virtual business? That's the first thing. Because if there's 1 million people turning transactions and I end up getting 50 cents royalty streams, as an example, then I've made $500,000. You can annualize that out. I might be worth $5, $6, $7 million just for this room, which I can on-sell. So I'm creating a business in a COVID environment, which is what our design and testing's been doing for the last 8 or 9 months. More importantly, as a result of those 1 million people, they themselves can seek out and search areas of real estate that they can congregate other people's avatars on their followings. So it's not just the rich and famous and those that are out there that need to look good and glamorous and promote themselves for that attraction of followers. We can have people sitting behind avatars. I may or may not be a very attractive bloke, but certainly my avatar can be, and people want to be part of the promotions that I'm pushing to merchants as well. So we're taking the hard work away from merchants to identify the hotspots that they can zone in on their products. It's an exciting time. So what I'm looking for, therefore, is that it's the virtual real estate initially that you might own 10 feet by 10 feet in a park in your local area. And that's where the virtual avatars congregate and the merchants know that there's going to be some action with which they can redeem and send these vouchers of real value. And of course, the important thing is that avatars, if they want to convert that into real life, then certainly I can walk out of this room now and go and get my exercise and work within the realms of the rules of COVID, and hopefully I can go hunting and collecting and take the kids and the family, and we've seen this how it works live. I mean, COVID certainly changed the dynamic of that to a great extent, but we'll come out of that and people will be out and about, and people just loved it with their families, hunting and collecting late at night. We have gamification that comes with that. We have rewards that are coming with coins. We have all sorts of programs that reward both the merchant for putting more out onto the platform and you as the consumer. So at the end of the day, we're starting from a blank sheet of paper. We're going to have some opportunities for those loyal ZuCoin holders that come in, and they will be the people that will get not only the respect from us for backing us early, but also the early upside in getting their hands on virtual real estate to make money and putting value. So we're not interested in making big dollars selling real estate up front. We'd rather put that into the hands of our loyal people and participants as we journey towards our listing. And as a result of that, if you make money, we make money. If you sell or trade your virtual real estate, which is what's going to happen, then of course we'll make some money at the end of the day. It's another success-driven business model, which a lot of startups aren't in a good position to do that because they're desperate for cash flows and they're desperate to get money up front from either merchants or consumers. So I'm hoping you have got your heads around that, and that it's all part and parcel of that big picture, the formulas that allow us to gain traction, and of course the value propositions for creating a truly mass adopted crypto in ZuCoin, because it's the glue between the community people in that ecosystem, which allows everybody to have a share of the pie, so to speak. So I look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's update, episode 6, is going to be about NFTs, which we're renaming UDAs, unique digital assets, and how you as a consumer and merchant can take advantage of that through the simplicity of the ZuCoin and the way in which that'll also interact in the ecosystem I've just talked about. Because the more UDAs, unique digital assets, and that's what we're going to create for you, and you'll be able to create yourself, that you can trade and congregate with people, either as avatars or in real life, this is going to be explosive, because it's all about transactional volumes. It's all about the movement of money, the velocity of money. And, one day you've got this massive global ecosystem that says, well, makes $46,000 US on a Bitcoin, relegated into second position, because it's the old story, everybody, the old story, and it doesn't go away. The race between the turtle and the hare, and we all know what happened to the rabbits out there. A lot of rabbits out there, whether they're in troll land or rabbits that think that things can't happen and rushing to get to the end of the line. This old slow turtle here makes the job get done. So thank you, everybody. We'll have some updates tomorrow on progress with the 30 wallet holders. We've had some interesting issues there, but certainly the vast majority have been successful in the first stages of that, which is very exciting in those countries. And certainly some new news in relation to some updates on the tutorials that we're fine-tuning to get everybody across the line. So that'll be a continuation of this week and some more exciting stuff. Take care, everybody. Be safe, be kind, and make sure one thing, it's ZuTime. Cheers, everybody.